So hello everyone. I welcome you all for the third lecture on digital system design using Verilog. We will be covering here about the module 1, that's the introduction and methodology. In the previous class, you have seen about the real world circuits, that's about logic levels, static load levels, capacitive load and propagation delay, wire delay, sequential timing, power, area and packaging. So in today's session, we'll be covering about models and design methodology there. Okay. First, let's concentrate on the topic called as models. So what does that model means? The best example is that when we were child, we used to play with a paper aeroplane or a paper boat. They were the models. It's not exactly the plane or a boat, but it was replicating the concept there. It means it was meeting our requirement specification. Okay, so what we can say here is that one way of thinking of a model is that it's a representation of an object that incorporates aspects of interest for a particular purpose while omitting the aspects that are not relevant. So if you see the definition here, what it is saying, it is meeting our requirement specification and the area of interest, what we are looking. One of the best example, as I said, aeroplane, paper aeroplane, what we used to play when we were child. So in general, so why we are concentrating on a model is that, so anything when what we want to design, if we have a model, if we have a prototype, then it will be very easy for us to understand the concept there. So the more effective approach is to develop models of our design and evaluate them. So in our digital circuit, what we'll be doing is that we'll be writing a program with the help of a language. It depends upon the language what we are choosing there, and we prefer here hardware description language, and write the program in such a way that it meets the design constraints or whatever the interest what we have in designing the model. We give that as an input, and whatever the expected output is there, that we check it out with the help of a programming model there, and we use certain languages. Okay, so what we can say is that a model of a digital circuit is an abstract expression in some modeling language. As I said, some languages what we will be using that capture those aspects that we are interested in for certain design tasks and omits the other tasks. So whatever requirement is there, only those concepts will be concentrating and the remaining thing will be neglecting them. One of the simple example here is that a model may express just the function that the circuit is to perform. So if you observe here, a model, if I'm looking for the functionality of a model, then I need to verify that, where I'm not concentrating on certain parameters such as timing, power consumption, or a physical construction. So if you observe, the designing of a model has certain properties which need to be taken care when we are designing the model there. And depending upon the property, the design aspects keeps on changing there. Okay, so now here one example what they given is that I am worried about only functional verification. That means it need to verify the functionality of the circuit. I am not worried about what is the time it taking, what is the power it is consuming, or what is the area it is occupying there. Okay, so this is some of the simple example of a model what we can just say. Okay, so another form of a model may express the logical structures, as we are seeing their functional verification. Now if you observe here, it's the logical structures. So when I'm worried about logical structures, whatever the available models are there, I need to use that and interconnect and design the new model. Okay, so when we come to the digital world, you make use of the gates and flip-flops to design the higher end of the model, what we want to design there. That's about structural. So it means what? Available resources we are making use it and interconnecting it to our own design, what we want to design it. Okay, that's about structural there. As I said, all this can be done with the help of a certain language, and we name that one as hardware description language, HDL. Already, which we have seen it in our system. Okay, one of the language what we already studied. So here, the model keeps on changing. So one is functional model may also be expressed in mathematical notations, such as Boolean equation and a finite state machine notation. So different methods of using the functional models, what we have, one behavioral model, we just write the assignment statement there. So what is that assignment statement? It is a mathematical expression consisting of and or addition, subtraction, like that. Or we have a certain finite state machines. That's about the loops or the design, what will be concentrating on the parameters what we have there. Okay, so structural model may also be expressed in the form of graphical circuit schematics. So another way of using the model design is structural. We can design with the help of graphical circuit schematics there. So as we said, we have a hardware description language. There are different hardware description languages what we have. One is Verilog, which we already studied it in our fifth sem there. The another one language what we have is VHDL, which will be knowing in the later stage. So here, if you concentrate on the Verilog was first developed by Phil Morby at a company called as Gateway Design Automation. So this was the company which designed it, and this was further subsequently acquired by the Cadence Design System. Cadence Design System is one of the important VLSI tool which is there for the hardware description language as well as for the front end and back end. Front end means what? Whatever we are writing the hardware description language. Back end, nothing but the schematic circuit diagrams. What we'll be studying it in our VLSI there. Okay, that will be helpful in the Cadence system because that's the tool which has been developed by the Cadence there. I know since we know that since it's a general language, it has to be certain standardized. And this is standardized by the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineer, IEEE, and the International Electrotechnical Commission. And these have framed certain standards which need to be followed by the designers when they are writing the program there or when they are writing the program for particular model what they want to design. So other than this Verilog, we have VHDL, very high speed integrated circuit hardware description language. V stands for VHSIC, very high speed integrated circuit hardware description language. This is another language what we have. But as the technology started growing, evolving, so recently a new language has been introduced. That is about System Verilog. There's the extension of a Verilog what we have studied it in our fifth sem there. As we know, another one language, C programming is a advanced. So there is one more language which has come in existence for the hardware description language is System C. Okay, so these are the languages what we are using it in writing the hardware description languages. Now let us see a different models what we have there. As we are seeing functional verification or a behavioral model. So a model of this form in which we describe the function performed by the circuit is called as behavioral model. So the word itself says behavioral. The behavior of that particular model is expressed with the help of certain expression, and that is written with the help of an assignment statement where input is given and output is getting output. Okay, so there are three principal design tasks the benefits from the use of the Verilog. So one of the important question about the Verilog there, what is what are the uses of the Verilog? We can write it here. The first important thing is about the design entry. That is, it expresses the model in the form that can be input to the CAD tools. So what is the advantage of here Verilog is that the design entry is very helpful with the help of a Verilog, which is acting like a input to the CAD tools. That is a computer aided design tools or the whatever the tool what we are using it. Okay, so that is one of the advantages of the Verilog what we have. Second type that benefit from the use of Verilog is verification. That's another one important task which need to be concentrated there. See, whatever the model what we are designing, if it is not working properly, then what is the use? Okay, so the model what we are designing has to be verified perfectly, and then only it has to be given to the manufacturing level. If you are not verifying it and if you are giving it to the manufacturing, huge money is lost because if it is not working properly there. Once the product is manufactured, it cannot be redesigned there. Okay, only the entire cost will be wasted. One of the best example about this one is that some 3-4 years back, we have seen some mobile company, the battery design was not perfect, and during charging, the battery was getting blast. So it means what? In hurry, the time to market or the competition between the competitive companies, they are not verified the design what they have designed the model there. So what happened? The battery which was charging, it was getting blasted. So that's one of the thing what we have to observe. So before giving it to a market or before the product is being delivered to the market, it has to be thoroughly verified, and then only it should be given to the manufacturing level there. Okay, there are several aspects of verification because verification doesn't mean that only one level. There are different stages of verification there. One is functional verification, which involves ensuring that the design performs required function. Functional verification means what? Its important task is to verify the functionality is working or not. It is not worried about, as I said, other parameters like timing, power consumption, or area there. So when it comes to timing verification, so timing is very important. At what time it is executing or what time the output is getting result there. So if timing is not met, then that design is not verified. The other verification task includes power verification, manufacturability verification, and test verification. So what is this? Power, you have to see that it consumes minimum power. It should not produce much heat such that the overheating may damage the product there. Okay, next, manufacturability verification means what? Once that particular design has been done, it has to be verified with all possible configuration of the designs or the all possible configuration of the inputs there. Okay, once it is finally product is done, again it has to be verified, test verification. So after the 100% verification is done on the product, then only it has to be given to the market there or to the consumers. So all of these forms of verification involve analysis of models of the circuit to determine the relevant property and checking that the property values are acceptable. So as we are saying here, whatever the model what we are designing, it should meet certain relevant properties, and these properties are should be met in such a way that it is in acceptable range. Okay, we should not neglect any of the important properties present in the design there. So functional verification is often the most time consuming part of the entire design process. Why means, what is our task? Whatever the model what we are designing, it has to be verified its functionality. If it is functionality is not working, then what is the use of the design model? Okay, so one of the important approach of functional verification is simulation. So what is that simulation? We already seen it in our hardware description language, that is HDL lab. We are using model sim or logic analyzer Okay. So where model sim is verifying its functionality of the program what we are writing it, either basic gates or a flip-flops or a counter or any other design what we are designed in our lab. And this is done with the help of a simulator. What is that simulator? Model sim is a simulator tool that is simulating the functionality of the model what we are designing it. So simulator is a tool. So here one tool what we have is model sim. NC sim is there for the cadence. Like that, different simulator tools are present for different companies. Xilinx has its own simulator integrated circuit that is a integrated simulator environment ISC there. Okay, Ultra has a different environment. So different company has its own simulator there. So what happens here is that this involves applying different combinations and sequence of values to the input port executing the model code. So what happens here is that it need to verify the all possible configuration of the input. So for example, if it is two inputs, we have four configurations 0001 1011. It need to be verified for that four configuration. But if it is 16 input, it's 2 raised to 16. When it raised to the 2 raised to 16, it is about 65,000 different configuration what need to be verified there. Okay, so after verifying that 65,000 variety of input configuration, then only the design model is, we can say it is working properly there. So behavioral model expression in assignment statement can be executed directly. So already we have seen different modeling structures. One is behavioral, structural. Okay, two important thing in the language what we have then we have studied another one important thing is that mixed type, mixed languages, so many other parameters are there. Okay, so what happens here is that data types, everything what we are using in our design that need to be tested. So another one model what we have is structural model. As I said, we are making use of the available resources like about the flip-flops, basic gates. We instantiate it or we call that particular basic gates, connect it, and then verify the model with the help of a structural model. So what does the simulator does is that whatever the possible configuration input is there, that is given to the model, and for respective input, what is the respective output is there, that will be displayed on the simulator tool there. So the alternative to the simulation is formal verification, which involves mathematical proof of properties of the design. So here it means what? Either you can verify with the help of a tool or the formal verification manually, what we can do it there. Okay, the property takes the form of logical statements relating values of inputs and outputs, or sequence of values of inputs and output that express the functional requirement. So what happens here is that whatever the possible input output configuration is there, either we can reduce it to an expression format and then verify the functionality there. That's with the help of K-map or different technique what we used it. Okay, so the analysis of model and the proof of the property is performed by a CAD tool called as model checker. So this is one of the another thing concept present in the CAD tool is model checker, which verifies the model and the proof of its properties. So formal verification is relatively new technology and can require significantly computational resources. So what happens here is that this is a formal verification. Recently, it has become a new technology there, which is taking a much more time because it requires some additional information to perform the operation there. The third important aspect about Verilog is about synthesis. Synthesis is another one important thing what we have there. It's a process of transforming HDL design into a gate level netlist given all the specified constraints and optimizing settings. So in a simple way to say the definition of synthesis is that it's a process of transferring the high level language to a gate level netlist, which meets all the specified constraints for the design what we have. So this is the third advantages of the Verilog, why we are going there. Okay. Technically, when we say it is called as a register transfer level of expressing the behavior of the statement. So whatever the behavioral model is there, if it can be represented with the help of register transfer level, Then we name that one as synthesis. So that's about the models what we have. Now let us go for the design methodology, what we have here. So if you see design methodology, this is the most important block diagram what we have. For 10 marks or anything, they will ask an examination there. So first thing, if you observe, what we have is requirements and constraints. So before designing any model, we must know what is the requirement for the consumer, what is the input and what is the output. Then we need to design that. After designing, we need to verify its functionality. If it is working, go for the synthesis. If it's not working, go and redesign the concept. If it is synthesizable, whatever the Verilog code what we have written, if it is synthesizable or if it is able to produce a gate level netlist here, then we go for a post synthesis verification. Okay, it means what? After the gate generation of gate level netlist, we need to verify its functionality whether it's working or not. If it is working properly, then we go for physical implementation. If it is not working, again we need to think about the previous designs where the error has occurred. If it is working properly, then we go for a physical implementation that's on a practical board. So whatever the design we have written in the HDL program, we are dump it on a board there, either FPGA or CPLD, and then we verify the functionality of the physical model what we have designed there. If it is meeting the constraint, then it is given to the manufacturer. If it is not meeting, again we go back and redesign the concept or re-verify the concept what we have it in a physical verification there. If it is verifying perfectly in the physical verification, it goes to the manufacturing, and the manufacturer, once they manufacture the IC with the help of the silicon wafer, there is a crystalline silicon wafer what we are seeing there about area and packaging, then that individual ICs have been taken and then it is tested. After testing, if it is working properly, then only it is given to the market. So this is the important design methodology what we have. The same thing is being explained here. The starting point is a collection of requirements and constraints, performance requirement. So whatever the design methodology is shown here is explained with the help of sentences what we have written them. The starting point is a collection of requirement and constraints, performance requirement and constraints on power consumption, cost, and packaging. So these are certain examples what we need to be considered over during the requirements and constraints there. So design task involves understanding the requirement specification and develop a specification of a digital circuit that meets the requirement and constraint. So we have to design in such a way that it is meeting the required constraint. So what is the design methodology has is design, synthesis, and physical implementation. So design, synthesis, physical implementation. The information produced by this task is the collection of models that describes the design. So this is a general way of defining the design there. The methodology that specifies that we verify function of the design using techniques such as simulation and formal verification. So what happens here? Functional verification we are written like either say formal verification or a simulation wise we can verify the design there. So once the design is verified, the design has to be synthesized, and post synthesis verification should be done and verified to meet the design requirement according to the technology what we are going to use there. So post synthesis verification is the next concept what we have there. So after the verification of the post synthesis, the design model has to be implemented on the practical board, that's on the hardware board, either FPGA or a CPLD, and it is verified. If verification fails, again you have to go back and then redesign the concept or rethink about the design what we are designed there. Okay, if any minor changes is there, we need to change it. If there is no change, if it is working properly, then it has need to be sent to the manufacturer for the manufacturing and then verify the IC what has been manufactured. Okay. So in this hardware software core design, we can easily observe that The steps are same, requirements and constraints. And the last one is that testing. In between that, what we have is that we are dividing the design into two parts. One is hardware part, another one is software part, where we are concentrating parallel design. Hardware requirement, hardware designer will concentrate, software requirement, the software requirement designer will concentrate there. Okay. So initially the input to the design methodology are functional requirement and constraint, as we can just observe. Once the functionality has been partitioned between hardware and software, both are concurrently designed by the respective design engineers there. So the benefit of developing both parallelly is that time taken will be less. There is no additional time requirement for the software design there. Okay, so designing of the hardware and software for a system together is called as hardware software co-design. So if you're designing parallelly, that's why it is called as hardware software co-design. Designing which part of to put in the hardware and which is software is called as partitioning. So here the designer will take care of which part is the hardware part, which part is the software part. After partitioning, respective designer will concentrate on hardware requirement. So hardware is designed and then hardware is verified. If it is verified perfectly, then it goes to the manufacturing. If it is not verified, again it go back to the partitioning and redesign the concept. So what happens here in the software? Again, it checks for the software requirement. Software designer will design that. By combining with the hardware, it tests the software model for that particular hardware. After it is verifying perfectly, then it goes to the manufacturing. Once it is manufactured, again the IC need to be tested perfectly. After the testing is done perfectly, then only it is given to the market, or else the entire cost what we designed, if you're not verifying at each and every stage, then the cost of the design will be waste there. So what happens is that the designer need to think before giving the product to the market. Okay, that's the important thing what we must know there. Okay, so that's the thing what we have it in today's session. Okay, so you can observe what we have here. Both hardware and software verified are integrated and given to the manufacturing. The same thing what we just discussed is being explained in the sentence wise. So the manufacturer tests the design and verifies it. After successful testing, the product is sent to the market. That's the most important thing what we need to concentrate there. Okay. If you have any questions, go to the comment section, write down your questions, I'll reply to your question. If you like my video, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon for further information. Thank you.